All right, everybody, we're here with Evan Schertzer. If you recall a very early video in the channel where we tried to inflate an ag tire. He's a tire guy.
Tire guy.
That's his tire truck. Anyway, we're going to, yeah, that's what he does. But another thing Evan is really passionate about is the poultry industry. He's a big time chicken man.
Sure. Been around some chickens.
So anyway, we're gonna take a tour of a modern chicken house. There's been a huge movement towards cage-free eggs with layer chickens.
Like on your mayonnaise bottles and stuff like that, it says made with cage-free eggs, and like McDonald's is, you know, pushing the cage-free stuff and all that other good stuff. So this is a modern aviary layer house. Yeah, so we'll go inside here. It's the first Zucami house in the USA. Zucami is a Spanish company over in Spain and Europe. Yeah, so they're trying to make a US presence. So it's a center egg belt design. We'll go through it and I'll kind of show you everything, how it works. But yeah, pretty cool design. I think it'll work really well, and yeah, we're excited. So.
And I also have to say, from an animal welfare standpoint, like, it doesn't get better than what we're talking about here. I mean, this is state of the art. I would say ahead of its time. These chickens can freely roam about. You know, it's really doesn't get better than this.
Lots of water available at all times.
Very good ventilation.
You can see in that clear tube over there, it's a paddle type of system. It's in a continuous like loop. Like, it's gonna go, and you have your feed bin slides here, so you can choose which one you want to open up, and that goes up in and fills your hoppers. There's 3 hoppers up there for each row, so that just runs up, and yeah, it's pretty maintenance free. They got covers on the corners, but they can make a 90-degree corner. It's not an auger. Look at the paddle. It's a paddle and a chain. There's a clear tube right there before the motor. It's like a paddle. They can make 90-degree corners and kind of go however you want to feed it. So, yeah. I mean, Zucami, the system, is owned by Big Dutchman. That's their parent company. It's kind of like GM and Chevy back in the day. You know, they're owned by the same company. You know, they're different engineers, but they share the same notes. So a lot of similar stuff. The feed chain and all your feed system. It's exactly like the Big Dutchman stuff. You got your hoppers on each side. So here's a feed hopper. You got your motors on the other side pushing into the corner, so it's not really making a point. So your birds are coming out right there. Yep, exactly. Yep, so you have a scraper set up down below for underneath the cages. So that scraper is going back in front, and it's like a fan. Like, it opens out like this when it's going front, scrapes manure, and when it comes back, it closes up. You got your water system, pretty similar to that. You got your center egg belt, which is the new design. A lot of the aviary had an egg belt on your outside. So when you had an egg jam, a bunch of the eggs would start piling up over. But with this, if you get an egg jam in the center, say there's a bird that gets caught or something like that, the eggs are going to back up, but they're all going to be on the cage. So once you get that fixed, they're just all going to go right back on the egg belt and flow out.
Who are you fishing in the cage?
Where's my wife? She's small. She'll get in there. That's a lot of the question is, you know, how are you getting in there? You're going to have to climb in. It's 10 foot wide. You have to get 5 foot in. I mean, that's part of it.
And your hair, is that still sewing it?
Yeah. So, well, they did these plastic belts as well, but you can sew, do all sorts of other stuff. I mean, your life expectancy with something like this, you're hoping to get 10, 15 years out of it. So in 10, 15 years, when we see them start to fray or whatever, just put a new belt in it and keep going. So you're gonna come out here, this is the set speed, this is the set speed, goes onto there, climbs up, spins over and goes onto your rod from there, and that rod from there we have very good speed.
So this is what's actually carrying the eggs on top of here,
this is
and it's going to carry them right out. This here is able to hold the egg until the egg gets flipped out, and that little green thing is going to make it paddles it out onto the rod conveyor.
Lay eggs on the floor as well.
That's kind of the whole deal where you're, ideally you want a pullet house that is similar to this, where they are trained to sleep inside
And lay their eggs in there.
Exactly. We don't have that right now. They're coming from a floor raised house, but they know how to jump because their feed and water is set up on tables. Fans are on this side, it's cross ventilated with circulating fans in every single row. 2 stories. I can take, I'll show you at the back, I'll show you the manure shed and everything. What we got here. So when birds come in, they're going to be kind of out everywhere. You can see on this side how it has this right here, and that's controlled on this handle. So when they come in, you don't want them going underneath, or else they're going to probably stay under there. So after they're trained and they're staying up here at night, you can open that up just like that. And these perches, when they learn they can jump from the floor up to here, they go up. Just like that. So your feed trough in there, there's a perch pipe on top of that if you need to work on it. Move that out of the way. Work on that. We're doing 2 types of nests. On the upper floor, it's a kind of like a netting like this the whole way around. Down here, it's an enclosed nest box with the wire mesh push out. So after they're done laying eggs, you run that wire mesh, it's on a motor. It pushes that out and closes that nest off completely for the rest of the day. And you open it back up when they're gonna go roost. That green cover over the egg belt, you can pop it up if you need to work on the egg belt or if you got an egg jam. Yeah, pretty
So that's
simple.
preventing them from stepping on the egg belt and causing jam ups.
Exactly.
They would just walk over top of that.
Yep, so they can step right on top of that, yep.
Wow.
I like the water.
Yeah, a lot of water nipples. There's rubber fittings not too far apart, so if it does get cold in here and contract, like it has
referring
enough
to
room in it.
This black thing
So they, each red thing there, each one of those red things, they are able to peck at that, and that will give them a water, give them a drink. So they're laying the egg right on that tapered floor. It rolls in underneath that green floor thing, and that's what's preventing them from stepping on those eggs and causing jam ups. So that center actually moves forward and pulls the eggs out.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I mean they got a matting under here. Europe requires same wiring set up in every single tier. They're all controllable and dimmable, so like you can dim the lights out slowly. But these lights clip on, and if one burns out, you clip on another one. It just clips right on there. So it's pretty simple to light.
So from a humane standpoint, these birds are essentially able to freely roam. They can walk all around here, and they can walk around, and they can just freely roam about on the floor as they please.
So this is your setup at the back. You have your manure belts. When you're running belts, you're usually running about 1 floor at a time. A lot of the older houses they did was a belt set up on here and a huge deep concrete pit like Jeff Farley had, you had over there. So they're trying now, new thing, Pat's manure cleaner, just like in your dairy barns. This will run out, and if you look out in the shed, there's a huge incline that goes up to there. And there's a transfer belt, and there's another belt that runs that way. And that belt up top has a diverter to make a windrow as long as the barn. So that Pat's goes the whole way up to there. They say it's pretty bulletproof. I mean, I wish we had a stainless steel model. It'd be the only thing, you know, never wear out. Then it'd be a lot more expensive, but.
Well, you probably figure if I know anything about that, you could probably put them in the what's that thing?
Yeah. brings it all the way to the back here and pushes it out. Yeah, these curtains go over, so when you're running it all falls down. These are your scrapers for your belt, so those will go up. There's a handle on each side that goes tight up against and kind of scrapes your manure off the belt. So, yeah. But that pads thing, that's pretty new and we're pretty excited about it.
And what about fly prevention?
I'm hoping that the birds eat most of the flies. Honestly, at most cage-free they do. They pretty keep after it. I mean, this is the backup deck. Marine food, plywood is what they use. It's pretty standard for a double-decker. I mean, if you think about it, they started tearing out the old big Dutchman stuff in April. And here we are at the end of August. It's pretty impressive. So the only difference upstairs is the nest, instead of having the box with the push out, is just a curtain the whole way around. So that way, if too many birds are getting in a box, they won't suffocate, or they won't have problems. They'll get pushed out the backside. So,
How many birds?
And what he's saying there is that with cage-free, chickens can tend to want to flood together. It's just something they will do. And part of what these curtains are, all this is just a curtain. So they can come and go as they please. It's simply just a curtain, but the chickens are naturally going to want to lay eggs in a dark place. They don't want to be out in the light because they're not going to sit in the sunlight and roost naturally. So that way they can kind of freely come and go, and if they start piling in, they can just walk out.
yeah, originally they wanted to have the motors. They wanted to have the motors on the far side, pulling it into the corners, which would have tension on this and this corner, but we had them mount them backwards. So they're on this corner, they're driving that way, and they're going around, and so there's no, like, you know, it's not pulling it through these corners, they're just pushing it into there and going around, so the pull is from that. So in theory,
So here you can see it from the top side. So the eggs will flow out the middle onto this rod conveyor. They'll fall into these cupped pieces, and then they'll come down. These fingers will brush them out, and they'll land on that rod conveyor that was downstairs that we showed you, and it will carry the eggs out to be packaged. So right here is where those tubes of feed come in through the wall, and they run down into these hoppers, which you can actually see. There's a glass window there, but it'll land in that feed chain. Will pull through there. There's covering to keep the dust and debris out, I guess. And as you can see, these feeder chains have the front side here aimed down like a scooper, and it just scoops and carries that feed around.
yeah.